in common with a lot of actors, my understanding of contemporary theatre began by reading plays that almost uniformly had the words Royal Court above the cast list. When I was in the 1970s and 1980s, I would read these blue Methuen play scripts and they always had the Royal Court Theatre. So as I got more serious about trying to find a way to be involved in theatre, I didn't yet know in what way that would be. I knew that I had to get to the Royal Court in some way. And in a sense, I don't know many actors, even now, who don't feel that they have to be at the Royal Court at some point. It's always had a position in the actor's imagination of being where the establishment and the fringe meet, I suppose. That somewhere this is a crossroads at which, the best new plays, the zeitgeist plays are going to be, and they're going to be produced in collaboration with the writers, not in spite of the writers. The Sam Shepard play, Buried Child, which I absolutely adored. I think because it felt, it seemed to sort of synthesise both, a visual sensibility, like the kind of concrete symbols, stage symbols that Shepard uses, in a way that was less typical of Royal Court plays at that time. And I think I was at university when I saw it, and I came and it sort of supplied loads of discussion material afterwards. So there was that. And then actually subsequent to that, the other production that came to my mind would be Simpatico, which is another Sam Shepard play that Matthew Worcester directed here with Janet McTeer, that also had a massive effect on me. But it seems invidious to pick those two American plays by the same writer, because in a way, watching plays at Royal Court, it's a place you come to check in with, and in a way, some of the weaker plays and weaker productions are almost more interesting because the voices are often more raw, less sophisticated, but they're telling you something about the way the next generation is relating to theatrical form and theatre as a whole. So it's, in a way you come here, and I've had memorable nights in the theatre here where I haven't particularly liked the play, but the debate or subsequent discussion has always been really interesting. I think the Royal Court matters because I think in a way it's remit, and to a certain extent this is true and should be true of most theatres, but it seems to be specifically the remit of this theatre to try and understand why theatrical writing matters in general. It's constantly in a discussion with itself about what is it about theatrical writing that can teach us about everyday life now. And as soon as I say that, I completely disagree with myself and say some of the great stuff I've seen here has also been about plays that have been revivals. There have been great revivals and classics that have been reimagined here. But I would say that it sort of holds true that there's something about the ongoing debate about the function of the written word in drama that is going on in this theatre all the time, that you come here to see plays and you go, why on earth have they chosen that play? That's ridiculous. It's not even a play. Or that writer that writing hasn't been transposed enough, or that symbol, what is that mixture of symbolism and writing? I don't get that. And it's almost the job of this theatre, and why it has endured, I think, is to jeopardise the definition of legitimate theatre, really. Well, one memory I do have is that David Mamet play, Oleana. I was here on the press night of that, and that was fantastic because of the anger in the theatre, and just the atmosphere. Just felt, wow, imagine being. Again, I wasn't yet a professional actor then, I don't think, and imagine being part of a theatre where theatre could still provoke that much uproar. But in terms of performing here. It actually didn't take place here. It took place when the Royal Court decamped to the de Beauvoir estates, and I did a play called Circle Mirror Transformation a couple of years ago. And the heat was a bit like this heat, but worse. It was like this to the max. It's a play about playmaking in a way. It's a play about improvising. And we were Melda Staunton, Danny Webb, 5 of us, and we were trying to do these theatre games, act theatre games, in this heat, and you could feel the audience like, struggling to stay engaged, and here you were sort of anyway. That was really hot. I mean, theatre's often hot, but that was really hot. If the Royal Court didn't exist, I wouldn't have read Harold Pinter's plays as early in my life as I did, and been introduced to a mixture of laughter and menace in such a way that it created something in my head that I've been chasing ever since. And there was something about his plays and their beginnings here, something about that chemistry that is still something I'm chasing in my head as an actor and as a reader and as an observer.